What's good, YouTube? It is your boy, Big Cool, coming to you from Colossal Sports TV. And I am back with another video. This is the rundown. First up, newly crowned unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz Jr. states that he would love for the Anthony Joshua rematch to take place in Mexico. I know people are going to say, yeah, I understand he's a Mexican, but he was born over here in America. True. But even though he was born in Imperial, California, he is a Mexican-American who speaks fluently in Spanish and English. He's not one of those guys who have the Mexican blood in him, but doesn't speak the native language like a Danny Garcia, who is Puerto Rican and had a showcase fight a few years ago against Mauricio Herrera and didn't speak a lick of Spanish. So we know that Andy Ruiz Jr. has that going in his favor. And also the big one, he is the first ever Mexican, heavyweight champion. And this has a feel-good story written all over it. He was a significant underdog heading into this fight this past weekend. He was given up 4 inches in height, 8 inches in reach. He hadn't really fought the level of guys that Anthony Joshua had fought in his career, but it didn't matter. You know, he talked himself into this fight, and he got the opportunity, and he made it pay in a big, big way. So, again, congratulations to Andy Ruiz Jr., who is now the new IBF, WBA, WBO heavyweight champion of the world. But let's hear what he had to say, or let's read his comments regarding his desire to stage an Anthony Joshua rematch in Mexico. I love to do the rematch, but first I've got to talk to my team. We'll go from there and figure things out. I love to be in Mexico. There's never been a heavyweight champion in Mexico, so I love to have a rematch there. I'm still pinching myself that this is true. All that hard work and dedication, I've made my dreams come true. We've been working for this my whole life. It's overwhelming, and I am just excited. So there it is. We all know that Eddie Hearn, the promoter of Anthony Joshua, came out immediately and said, look, the next fight, the rematch between these two men will take place in the UK. And that's not surprising. Anthony Joshua is a huge draw over there in the UK. Back in 2017, he filled up Wembley Stadium with approximately 90,000 fans. 90,000 fans, that's a lot of asses in seats for one guy, and he has that drawing power. So ideally, if it's not going to take place in America, the next logical place would be the UK, simply because the money that Eddie Hearn is going to throw at Andy Ruiz will be damn near impossible for him to turn down, unless he has that integrity and just that want to of, I want to fight in front of my Mexican people. Yes, I'm a Mexican American, but I want to show the Mexican people that, look, I'm the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion. I made history. I'm the trailblazer for this shit, and I want to, share this moment, a rematch against the guy I took those titles away from and made history against in front of you all. And I know Mexican people support their fighters just like British people. You know, these are the top 2 best fan bases in sports, and that is just the truth. Americans do not support their fellow American fighter like the Mexicans or the British people. So regardless if it takes place in the UK or Mexico, the house will be packed out with screaming fans of both fighters. But again, UK obviously would be the favorite because Eddie Hearn is going to be paying him a whole lot of money. Reportedly, Ruiz made $7 million, and that was just off of 5-week training camp, just on short notice. Now that he's pulled the upset off, and not just a one-punch upset, he dominated this fight. He dropped Anthony Joshua 4 times, and embarrassed him in his American debut, where he was trying to defend his unified titles, where he just got beat the fuck up. So if he made $7 million for the first fight, as the challenger, as a guy that doesn't have a significant following outside of the hardcore boxing fans. And hell, hardcore boxing fans wasn't really, going for him like that. We knew who he was, but he didn't have a rabid fan base. But now that he pulled off this significant and history-changing upset, making $7 million, now that he has the 3 titles, now his name is going to be, pushed worldwide. And look at him, man. He's not the prototypical heavyweight. He's not the 6'3", 6'4", slim, muscular heavyweight. He's a guy that stands at 6'2" tall. He came in this fight at 268, has the little, soft, flubby belly a little bit, but the guy can fight. And so with everything going in his favor, with him being the first Mexican heavyweight champion, him not being a prototypical heavyweight, him being bilingual, speaking English and Spanish, is a lot of things you can do with this story, and a lot of different angles you can go with it. And the top of all that, this guy can fight. 33-1 with 22 knockouts. The guy is an absolute very good fighter. Had fast hands, good power, showed to have, resiliency. And, he worked his life, all his life for this man. And congratulations once again to him. But I think the fight going to take place in the UK, if it takes place at all, because $7 million can go to $17 million, can go to $25 million. At this point, he can write a check or just give Eddie Hearn a blank check and tell him, make it worth my while. You know what I'm saying? But we shall see what happens. Obviously, with the fight just taking place a few days ago, both guys are looking to decompress, after a long, grueling, training camp, and chill with their family, enjoy the moment. And as far as Ruiz, and for Joshua, just get away a little bit, spend time with his son, his family, enjoy the fruits of his labor, because he still got paid a nice penny for Saturday night's fight. And then, meet up with their respective teams, come to the table, come to an agreement on where the fight will take place, and get all the extra shit that comes with negotiations of this caliber. Now, since we've had a significant upset, things won't move as fast, but the fight likely will take place in November or December, so that gives everybody enough time to make the proper adjustments in terms of fight location, venue, date, and get all the revenue portion, mapped out. So we shall see as time moves forward. Next up, some unfortunate news, man. It is some unfortunate news. We was looking forward to this fight, but apparently Tony Harrison has had to withdraw from the Jermell Charlo rematch due to an ankle injury he suffered while training for this fight. I'll post the link in the description box down below from 3kingsboxing.com so you all can check it out for yourself. But this is unfortunate news, man. I was so looking forward to this rematch. Both of these guys have been talking cash money shit. Both of these guys have a genuine dislike for each other. A lot of people felt that Jermell Charlo clearly won the first fight, but some people, and a good share of people, felt that Tony Harrison did enough to win the fight. They liked his approach more so than the aggressive nature of Jermell Charlo in the first fight. But, and was looking to see if Tony Harrison can duplicate and really make it more clear that he should have been the rightful winner, and he was the rightful winner. But this fight has to be pushed back a while. Tony Harrison, apparently he tore some ligaments in his ankle and will be undergoing surgery this Wednesday to have that repaired. And if that's the case, then maybe he's looking at a 2-month, out of being, able to, do anything physical. And if that puts him out, what is June 3rd now? So he'll come back August, and that'll be something that he can slowly start to get himself back into condition, light running, light jogging, and then around November, December, he should be ready to go for this rematch. But it's definitely a blow to boxing fans who was looking forward to this fight. It was going to take place June 23rd in Las Vegas. But now with Tony Harrison out, Jermell Charlo is going to be fighting Jorge Cota. a guy that is, a solid fighter. He's not the best and is not the greatest of replacements, but you got to keep in mind this is just a fight for, Jermell Charlo to stay busy. He can't, just because Tony Harrison is out with an injury and sideline, he can't just put his career on hold. He has to stay sharp. He has to, keep fighting to, be ready for the time for his rematch. And this could potentially play a big positive for him and a big negative for Tony Harrison, because Tony Harrison, instead of fighting around the same amount of time that that these two guys did in December of last year, he's going to be out from now December to possibly 2 December, so that'll be a damn near a whole year since he's fought. And Charlo, in the meantime, will get a fight in between that time. So that means he can be more sharper. He can even study more film of, Tony Harrison. And he can also continue to implement new things in his fighting style and, sharpen up on some things that went left in their first fight. So when the time come, he'll be ready to, put on a better performance, a more disciplined, focused performance, and get his WBC title back. But the replacement, likely to be Jorge Cota, who let me see his record. What is his record? His record is 28-3 with 25 knockouts. So if it is approved by Fox, that will be the bout. Also on the undercard is Guillermo Rigondeaux, who will be taking on Julio Seja, a former 122-pound titleist. So we shall see if Charlo will remain in the main event, or if they will swap with Guillermo Rigondeaux and Julio Seja for the main event. So unfortunate news again. Rest up, get well, Tony Harrison, because we want to see you do the rematch with Jermell Charlo and settle the big shit talking between y'all once and for all. So we shall see, man, when we get a fight announcement or rescheduled announcement for Tony Harrison versus Jermell Charlo 2. And we just have to be patient and hope that Jermell Charlo doesn't sustain an injury or gets knocked off in an upset by Jorge Cota. Final topic. Eddie Hearn states that Katie Taylor wants an immediate rematch with Delphine Persoon. And I love to hear this, because we did a hangout yesterday and we talked about this. I felt that Delphine Persoon won the fight. It was a very good fight. The best fight on the card of Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz. And I think that Delphine Persoon should have been walking away as the new undisputed lightweight women's boxing champion. But it was a close fight. But I think that she did the better work. She landed the harder punches. She controlled the pace of the fight. She dictated the pace of the fight. The fight was primarily fought the way she wanted it. When it was in close quarters, Katie Taylor didn't want any of that smoke. She held so much that it was almost frustrating. The referee had to constantly break them up and warn Katie Taylor about holding. The awkward Delphine Persoon was just pumping behind her jab. She was throwing some hellacious right hands, some hellacious left hooks, and she kept coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. And Katie Taylor, who's a great fighter, taking nothing away from her, she wasn't able to fire off those quick combinations. She wasn't able to keep a proper distance, utilizing her jab, giving angles, because she did have the better foot work out of the two. And you got to give credit to Delphine Persoon, for being able to cut the ring off and nullify the movement of Katie Taylor, who, to her credit, she didn't run, and she landed her fair share of shots. But I felt that, Persoon won this fight 96-94. And let's read what Eddie Hearn had to say. Katie Taylor is just an incredible competitor. She says, do people think Persoon won? And I said, most people had it a draw, but quite a few people had Persoon winning. We got to do it again straight away, and it was brilliant fight for women's boxing. The atmosphere was incredible. But if she's like, if there's any doubt, I said I had it a draw. She asked me, and she said, well, we got to do it again. So that's what it is, man. The judges Alan Nance and John Portija scored 6 rounds apiece for Taylor, who won 96-94 on each of their scorecards. Judge Don Trella scored the fight 95-95. So, even though it's somewhat controversial, a lot of people do feel that Delphine Persoon won the fight. Besides all that, we do got to give Katie Taylor credit. She is the third woman, in boxing history to become undisputed champion behind Miss Cecilia Barakas and Miss Clarissa Shields. So congratulations to her for that. She moved her record up to 14-0 with 6 knockouts. We all know she's a former 2012 Olympic gold medalist, and she's just a phenomenal fighter. But just because you're a phenomenal fighter doesn't mean you absolve from criticism. And, I felt that she lost this fight, but I would love to see a rematch. These two ladies put it out on the line. Both of these women are great top-tier fighters, and I think that a rematch would be even better. It'll be interesting to see how and what adjustments will both ladies make to make the fight more clear for them this go around. So, but I hope the fight takes place in September or sometimes September, October, because this is a fight that's needed, man. These are two of the best female boxers in the sport of women's boxing, and all eyes should be definitely looking towards a potential rematch between Katie Taylor and Delphine Persoon. But that'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you drop those comments in the comment section down below, giving me your thoughts on all these topics and all this news for today in the sport of boxing. If you enjoy the content throughout the channel, please hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, man, to be notified every time I upload content. Shout out to the movement and everybody that is moving with us. Be sure to check out 3kingsboxing.com for your latest and greatest updated, unfiltered, and unbiased boxing news and information reported the way it should be. Until next time, I am out. Peace.